What's happening everyone, my name is Alex and welcome back. In today's video we're taking a quick look at the latest device from Honor. The one that we have here today is called the Magic 6 Pro. Now I've also included the camera comparison between the iPhone 15 Pro and of course the Magic 6 Pro. And if you're here and you just want to check out that camera comparison, that one starts at this minute of this video, so you can skip right to that. But before we get to that, I'm gonna talk about the phone for a bit. So if you're looking for a powerful phone, this is a phone to get. This phone is powered by the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 that's paired with 12 gigs of RAM and in my case 512 gigs of internal storage. So this is a powerhouse of a device. If we check the score on the Antutu benchmark, we get a score of over 2 million. So an insanely high score. This is probably the highest score that I've seen on a mobile device up until now. And the same kind of goes on the Geekbench 6. So a very, very powerful device. So it doesn't really matter what you do with it, if you are playing a game or if you're just scrolling on Facebook, everything that you will do on this phone is insanely fast and everything works really good as well. Design-wise, well, I guess it really depends how you like your phone, if you like your phone a bit more flashy or not. So this phone comes in a couple of colors. So you get this green color here, or we get a black color. So the one that's black, it's not as flashy as this one. The green one here has the frame and this ring around the cameras that's a bit more on the goldish side. So this stands out way more than the black version. Now the difference in between these two is the back, of course. So with the green one here, we don't get glass on the back. This is made out of some type of plastic. It does feel great to touch, where the black one has glass on the back. So it really depends what you prefer and what you like, but I definitely love the way this one looks when compared to the black one. Alright, so the frame here is made out of metal. At the top here we have the holes for the second speaker. So we have one speaker at the top and one at the bottom. The speakers do sound really good as well. I'm gonna play a short recording so you can see. We also have here at the top an infrared sensor, so you could use this phone as a remote control for your TV, just to give you an example. On the right hand side of the frame we have the power button and the volume buttons, and at the bottom here we have the SIM card tray. So this device cannot take an SD card, but it can take two SIM cards at the same time. And of course we have the USB-C charging port. Talking about the charging port, the phone supports 80 watt wired charging or 66 watt wireless charging. Unfortunately, I don't have a wireless charger that's that fast, so I was not able to check that out. Not to mention that we do not get a charger in the box anymore. So now they're following Samsung and Apple basically. So you will have to buy your own charger for this device. Inside this device we get a 5600 milliamp hour battery, so you can expect somewhere between 6 and 8 hours of screen on time for pretty much anything that you're gonna do. So you're not gonna have to charge this phone throughout the day. I feel that it lasts an entire day without any issues. And now let me quickly play that short recording so you can hear how the speakers on this device sound like. Next we are moving on to the screen, the most exciting part for any mobile device, because that's the part that you interact with the most, and well, that's the part that you spend most of the day looking at. If you're like me, I feel that I need to step a bit back and not use a phone as much. Basically this is a 6.8 inches LTPO quad curved floating screen. So curves on the edges here and at the bottom and at the top. Now, I feel that this is going to be the last year that we are going to be seeing a curved screen, because the industry is kind of switching towards flat displays, as we've seen with the Samsung Galaxy Ultra and a bunch of other brands. So this is probably the last year that we'll get a display like this, but who knows, maybe they have a surprise for us next year. The peak brightness for this screen is 1600 nits, so it doesn't matter if you're using the phone indoors or outdoors, you're gonna be able to see the screen in pretty much any situation. It doesn't matter how bright it is out, so beautiful looking screen. And the peak brightness of 5000 nits for the HDR brightness, so if you're watching HDR content basically. Now, personally, I don't really have that much HDR content to watch, but in those situations, the screen will do great as well. So beautiful looking screen on this device as well. Of course, there is also an in-screen fingerprint scanner, so all you have to do is touch that fingerprint scanner and the phone will unlock right away. It does work really well. We have an always-on display feature, so if you want the screen to stay on at all times, the phone can do that. And next to that 50 megapixel front-facing camera, we also have a 3D time-of-flight sensor. So of course, the phone also supports face unlocking as well. Alright, so now that you know a bit more about this device, let's move on with our camera comparison between the Magic 6 Pro and of course the iPhone 15 Pro. The camera systems on their backs are somewhat similar, let's say. Not really, because on the back of this device we have a periscope telephoto camera, where on the back of the iPhone 15 Pro we do not. If I would have the Pro Max, then we would have a similar system. So, well, kind of apples to oranges in a way. But let's start by checking out some pictures that I took during the day with the main cameras on the back of these two devices. Alright, so all the pictures that you are seeing were taken on auto mode on both devices and about a second apart from each other, and I have the color profile set on both devices to vibrant. So keep that in mind. These days you can actually change the way those pictures look just by changing the color profile. But I have both of them set to vibrant, so the colors will be a bit more saturated and so on. But everything is pretty much possible to change from the camera settings. So for daytime pictures and the main cameras, I can't really say that one is so much better than the other one, because in some situations the Magic 6 Pro is better, in some situations the iPhone 15 Pro is better, but the biggest difference that I've noticed in between these two devices is for the dynamic range in the pictures taken by the Magic 6 Pro here. So a big difference for that. You can basically see more in those darker places in those pictures, in the shadows and so on. So I feel that for the main camera and daytime pictures, that is the biggest difference in between these two devices. So I can probably go as far as saying that the Magic 6 Pro does better for those daytime pictures. Next, we are moving on to pictures taken with the ultra-wide cameras on the back of the two devices, and of course during the day, and the same kind of applies for these pictures. So colors, as I said, we can change the colors from those color profiles, but the dynamic range in the pictures taken by the Magic 6 Pro is definitely better than the pictures that we take with the iPhone 15 Pro. So I think that's once again the biggest difference for those ultra-wide cameras. Now, moving on to some zoom pictures. So for zoom pictures, I've done 5x zoom, because for 5x zoom pictures, both devices kind of use a combination of digital and optical zoom. Now, those 5x zoom pictures are pretty similar. Maybe the pictures from the Magic 6 Pro are a bit sharper, but not that big of a difference in between these two devices. And I guess it really depends how you take pictures and so on. Now, the bigger difference that you will notice will be for 10x zoom pictures. Now, not to mention that with the Magic 6 Pro here, you could go up to 100x zoom, but I'm not gonna do anything like that. But you will definitely notice a difference for those 10x zoom pictures. So the zoom pictures will be better from the Magic 6 Pro when compared to the iPhone 15 Pro. As for portrait mode pictures, well, I only took about 3 portrait mode pictures. Unfortunately, nobody wanted to be in my portrait mode pictures. And looking at those pictures, I feel that I prefer the ones that I took with the iPhone 15 Pro, even though the ones taken by the Magic 6 Pro here are a bit brighter. I feel that the iPhone kind of retains my skin colors, color a bit better, I'm gonna say. So I feel that for portrait mode pictures, the iPhone did a bit better because of those colors. Next, we are moving on to nighttime pictures, and of course for all the nighttime pictures that you're about to see, I use the night modes available on both devices, and we are starting with the nighttime pictures that I took with the main cameras on the back of both devices. Now, when you first look at those pictures, the pictures from the iPhone 15 Pro do look brighter, so pretty much every single picture that I took does look brighter. However, if you look past the subject, so for example, if the subject is a building, if you look past that, you'll notice that there is way more detail in the pictures taken by the Magic 6 Pro for those situations. So just look past the subject and you will see that it captures more detail. You can actually see the colors of whatever trees there are in the background and so on. from the pictures taken by the Magic 6 Pro. Now, a lot of people may actually prefer the brighter looking pictures from the iPhone 15 Pro, and of course there is nothing wrong with that either. So I feel that it really depends on your preference and how you like your pictures. If you like them to be a bit more bright or if you want them to be a bit more realistic. Now, I've also noticed that the Magic 6 Pro does make those nighttime pictures a bit warmer than the iPhone. For the daytime pictures, it was the opposite situation. So I'm not sure which one is the better one for those nighttime pictures with the main cameras. Definitely leave a comment down below and let me know your thoughts. And next we are moving on to nighttime pictures, so the night mode and the ultra-wide cameras. Well, here the same kind of applies. The iPhone does have the brighter pictures, but here I've also noticed that the iPhone has the somewhat sharper pictures as well. So for those pictures taken at night with the ultra-wide cameras, I do prefer the pictures that I took with the iPhone. For the main camera, I couldn't really say which one is the better one, but for the ultra-wide camera, yes, I do prefer the ones from the iPhone. But once again, leave a comment and let me know your thoughts. Alright, so next we're gonna move on and check out some sample video recordings that I've done during the day and of course at night. The maximum recording resolution on both devices is 4K at 60 frames per second, so I did include some 4K at 60 and some 4K at 30 frames per second samples. The maximum recording resolution for that front facing camera is 4K at 30 frames per second, where on the iPhone is 4K at 60 frames per second. Not a big deal. I am pretty much recording 4K at 30 frames per second about 99% of the time, so I don't feel that that's really matters. Alright, so with that being said, let's check out those sample recordings and I will be right back. Alright, next on the list we have a quick recording between the Magic 6 Pro and of course the iPhone 15 Pro. For this recording I'm doing 4K at 60 frames per second with both devices. That is the maximum recording resolution, and I'm also using the main cameras on the back of both devices. It is a bit windy, so you may hear some wind aside from my voice. For now I'm walking nice and slow, so I'm trying to keep the phones as steady as possible, but I'm gonna start running, just so you can see how both devices do while running. We're gonna stop here, we're gonna pan right slowly, so kind of towards this tree. And I'll keep panning this way and we'll walk towards the bike. So this is how the Magic 6 Pro and the iPhone 15 Pro would record video with the main cameras and recording in 4K at 60 frames per second. Alright, next on the list we are moving on to a recording done with the front-facing cameras on both devices. Now, the maximum recording resolution on the Magic 6 Pro is 4K at 30 frames per second with that front-facing camera, where the maximum recording resolution on the iPhone 15 Pro is 4K at 60 frames per second. For this particular recording, I'm doing 4K at 30 frames per second for both devices. Now, on the Magic 6 Pro, we also have a feature called noise reduction. So I'm going to enable this right now. So this should cut down the noise around me, so it will basically concentrate better on my voice. We'll see how this actually sounds on the computer and what's the difference between the sound recorded by the iPhone for this particular setting here. We're gonna stop here, we're gonna walk that way. I'm also gonna walk a bit faster just so you can see how that video stabilization works on both devices. And let's run for a bit. So this is how recording done with the front-facing cameras on both these devices would look like. Next on the list we are moving on to another recording done with the main cameras, but for this recording I'm doing 4K at 30 frames per second with the Magic 6 Pro and of course the iPhone 15 Pro. So we're gonna stop here. Here we have a combination of sunshine and shade. I'm gonna stop here, I'm gonna pan right slowly. And I guess we'll walk this way for a bit. So this is how a recording done with the main cameras in 4K at 30 frames per second between these two devices would look like. Moving on to our next video test. For this recording we are using the ultra-wide cameras on the back of the two devices and recording in 4K at 30 frames per second. Both devices can also do 4K at 60 frames per second with the ultra-wide cameras. It's also a bit windy, so you may hear some wind aside from my voice. So we're gonna walk this way slowly. We have a combination of sunshine and shade around here. Just wanted to show you how both devices would perform under these kind of conditions. And I guess we'll walk this way slowly. So this whole recording done with the ultra-wide cameras on the back of these two devices would look like on a super sunny day, but a bit of a windy day. Alright, we have a quick video in low light between the Magic 6 Pro and of course the iPhone 15 Pro. For this recording I'm using the main cameras on the back of both devices and recording in 4K 30 frames per second. So the image does look much nicer on the Magic 6 Pro when I look at both screens. Here again we'll have to see how the footage actually looks on the computer. So we're gonna walk this way. This way you can kind of see how both devices do if you're walking. And we do have some street lights around here as well. So I'm just gonna stop somewhere around here. We're gonna pan left slowly. So kind of towards the darker side here. So just so you get an idea how the footage in low light would look like between these two devices. So 4K 30 between the Magic 6 Pro and the iPhone 15 Pro using the main cameras. And for our last video in low light, I'm using the ultra-wide cameras on the back of both devices and recording in 4K at 30 frames per second. As you can see, we do have some street lights just like before. Now, here I can't really tell which one looks better just by looking at the screens. We'll have to definitely check out the footage on the computer. So yeah, ultra-wide cameras and low-light 4K at 30 frames per second. So what do you think about those sample video recordings that I've showed you? Which one is better, the iPhone or the Magic 6 Pro here? Definitely leave a comment down below and let me know your thoughts. Alright, next we are moving on and checking out some sample selfies that I took with both devices. So looking at the daytime selfies, I can't really say that one is better than the other one. A couple of selfies, one is better than the other one, the other one was better. So I can't really say that for daytime selfies there is a difference, but for those nighttime selfies there seems to be a difference, and the iPhone has the sharper pictures. So for nighttime selfies, maybe the iPhone is the better device. So there you have it. This was a quick look at the latest device from Honor, the Magic 6 Pro. What are your thoughts about this device? Is it good enough? Or are you expecting better? Or are you expecting something new for this device? Definitely leave a comment and let me know your thoughts about this device. Alright guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.